So in this video, I wanted to cover a topic that I talk about a lot because I want to make sure that you guys are drawing these properly, because it is essential to understand how to use the different time frames to make sure that you are solidifying proper trend lines or relevant trend lines in the current price action so that you guys can make the best decisions. With all that being said, let's just get straight into it. So if you don't know how to find a trend line to begin with, the trend lines that I use are up here in the top left corner. And you're gonna find these on any exchange that offers a chart. They're basically all API'd from TradingView, which is the platform that I'm on right now. So you should be able to find the same exact tool on any platform that you're trading on. So you're gonna click on this first option here. It's a top option. It's already on my default. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna line up as many candle tops as possible. And I'm starting on the 4-hour time frame because I'm looking to make a day trade. You don't necessarily need to get into the daily time frame. It's almost not necessary for a day trade, and that is mostly what I specialize in. So I'm gonna keep it specific to that type of trading. So you don't need to go too far up the time frame. You just need I would say 4-hour would be the max, and you should be able to start from this place and then move down. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find any trend lines that you can identify on the top of the chart or on the top of the price action first. So, or you can do the bottom ones, it doesn't really matter. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw the trend line, start at the highest peak you can find that is local, closer to the current price action. And this is the current price action right here. So the highest place I could find next to it was this little mountain price action. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna identify as many of these tops as possible. I want to catch as many as I can on the way down. I want at least 3 tops minimum. And here I got several. I got 1, 2, 3. Try not to run through candles. Sometimes you might have to if it makes sense. If I want to get these 2 down here, I might have to run through 1 or 2 on the way down to make a more substantial trend line, because the more tops you can touch on the way down, the more accurate it's going to be. So that is how you would draw a trend line on the 4-hour time frame. And then you want to find anything underneath that's relevant that you might need for the local price action. And for me, I can see that there's a trend line right here, and I can line up the bottoms just like that and have myself a trend line, which is a bearish trend line when you draw it underneath the price action, and you touch as many of these bottoms as possible, so that if the price breaks, then you know a good short is in order. So now I have my bullish trend line, which is on top of the price action, and then I also have a bearish one underneath the price action. And that's all I need to do on this time frame in particular. So let's just stick with that for the 4-hour trend line. I'm gonna move down one time frame. So let's go to the hourly and see if there's anything else we can adjust. You wanna make some adjustments because as you come down, you're gonna see a little bit more detail. And as far as what I could tell, there's nothing else I would want to add that would make anything change. So you just want to stay with the relevant trend lines the closer you get down to the smaller time frames. So let's go down to the 15. Let's see if there's anything else that I can find on this time frame. So let's get closer to the price action and let's focus here. So now that I'm here, I see that we have this trend line that came down, and you can tell because we touch all these peaks here, right? And then we also had a breakout and we had a retest. So you can see how it used this trend line already and how it is actually an effective relevant trend line here on the 15. Now, what else can I find? Well, let's look for one underneath. Okay, so I got one right here, and I'm touching as many of those bottoms as possible without running through any of those candles. And you can see that this one is also very relevant because you see how trend line broke through here, bounce off of this one, and you see how all these trend lines, they play off of each other. You can see how this one bounced off of this longer trend line and it tagged this opposing trend line that's drawn underneath the price action. So I think that's good enough for the 15. So let's move down another time frame. Let's go to the 5. So now that I'm on the 5, I see a little bit more detail and I can make some adjustments. So right off the bat, let's find the closest peak, okay, right here. And I'm gonna draw this straight through a place that makes sense, right? Because I have some tops here, I have tops here, top there, that's 3 tops. And then we did have a little breakout here. You could see it, right? But then we ran into this trend line. And this is why it's important to go down the time frames, because you're gonna see trend lines that you wouldn't have seen on other time frames, right? So now I got my 5-minute bullish trend line. Now let's find a bearish one. So I want to try and find 2 trend lines per time frame, right? And I've been able to find a bearish one and a bullish one on every single time frame so far. So now that we're on the 5, there's my bearish trend line, right? It's not coming through any one of these candles. Can almost bring it back to touch that one, right? So that's clean, right? I'm not running through any bodies, okay? Just the wicks, right? And I'm touching these guys up here. So that is a legitimate trend line. And you can see how it's bouncing off of this trend line as the price action is moving up, right? As it broke through this trend line. So now we're stuck in between 3 different trend lines, and you're gonna probably see a lot of choppiness all the way up to here, unless it breaks down, right? So when you see a bunch of trend lines converge like this, you're gonna notice that price action is going to chop around, right? When you're running into too many trend lines. And so you have to play that into the equation as to whether this is a good time to get into a trade or not. So just know that you have all these opposing trend lines that are intersecting in this space, and it's probably going to be hard to get into a decent trade here unless one of them breaks like this one, because once it breaks, then you're clean all the way down to here. And then if it breaks this one, you're going to keep going down until you find another trend line, right? So that's how you would continue to draw them. You can go down to the 1 minute. I don't recommend going down to the 1 minute, but if you did, you could find other trend lines, right? So again, we're getting more and more microscopic as we get closer to the trend line or to the current price action, right? And so here I could draw another bearish trend line, right? I got 2 candles here. I got 2, 3, 4, 5 candles there, right? And now I have my bearish trend line that broke, and you can see it started to come down. But then we have an opposing trend line on top, right? There's always an opposing trend line. And you can see right here, okay, we have an opposing trend line where price action just broke and is now starting to head upwards. And it will probably run into this guy or this guy right here. So high traffic area, but just know that if you're being accurate in drawing trend lines, you should involve as many of the time frames as you can. And that way it'll help you make much more educated decisions as to which direction you want to enter the trade. So I hope this short video really gave you guys some clarity as far as how to approach trend lines, how to draw them properly, and how to use them to execute your trade to be the most optimal trade you can get into. All right, guys, that's it for me. I hope you guys keep your trades tight, your vibes high, and of course, try not to get yourself wrecked. I will see you guys in the next video.